We are continuing our ongoing conversation in Shurim with Rabbi Leib Tropper Shlita. And today, Rabbi Tropper, we're going to be talking on the subject of raising virtuous children. And one of the questions which we would like to ask and address is, people are asking, do you want your children to be happy? Do you want your children to tell the truth? How do our Chazal address this?
That's really this question. Each one, I think, should be treated separately. I will treat the second one first, which is, do we want our children to tell the truth?
And why wouldn't somebody want their kids to tell the truth?
Well, this is a question. Obviously, it's a question that we understand the answer to. It's a question, obviously, but there are ways to inspire the children to do that. So we say to you, do you want to? Then this is what maybe perhaps what you should consider doing. So the first thing is that a person knows that the Chazon Ish calls to the extreme, even exaggeration, he calls that as part of an Isser of Sheker. But we're not going to deal with that because we're not going to expect children not to exaggerate, and we all exaggerate, so we can't even ask that from people to expect that. And perhaps a lot of poskim would argue with the Chazon Ish about exaggeration. However, the issue of not being truthful, but telling the truth, one has to understand as follows. The Chazon Ish has a letter where he differentiates between somebody who lies, or is a liar. He earned this adjective, unfortunately, as a liar. Someone who altered facts of what happened for his benefit, and somebody else gets hurt with it, lied. Somebody who pathologically does this all the time, regularly, he is a liar. He actually earns the adjective of liar. But we shouldn't address somebody who lies once in a while as a liar. He's not a liar. That's just for the first bite, just introduction to the concept of lying from the Chazon Ish's perspective. There is a Bali Musar and child psychologists with Chochmah Ba'Goyim Tamin will tell you something very interesting that I'm not sure that we obey this as much as we should all the time. I think from my experience, I think parents that you do, personally, but that's why you have kind of wonderful children, but I think that this is something that really needs to be spoken about. For those who are not familiar with this is a really an important process within having dialogue with your children. A child has to feel safe telling the truth. Our reflex reaction to other things that are inappropriate for a child to do, we punish them, we yell at them, we talk negatively to them. I think it's important to hear the Bali Musar when they tell us that the worst thing to do is to not allow a child to be safe telling the truth. And that means the child doesn't have to expect to be tortured in his mind, to him. We don't know what it's torture for a child. The Chazon Ish, I think, Deslam writes in a sefer that for a little baby, a young child, when he builds a little house with his Lego, when you push it and kick it and it breaks, you destroyed his world. So we have to be very careful and sensitive if a lying is going to bring a reaction, a response from parents of that sort of quiet, manifested anger, just knocking down his toy, so to speak, and then that child may end up not just lying, but becoming a liar. And that's we don't want that to happen. So if we want our children to stay truthful and tell the truth consistently, we have to remove the fear of them admitting to what's true. If he broke something, if he spilled a glass of milk on your fancy sefer, or whatever one does, if he says, who did it? And if the child knows that if he says he did it, he has to expect he'll be penalized with no spending money or who knows what else. I mean, he should be commended for saying, I'm really happy you told me the truth. I'm not going to punish you, but I want to talk to you about this till we resolve it. Like, why did you speak? Why'd you feel you had to change the story? Why'd you feel you had to, you couldn't say the truth? To talk it out with him, to make it clear, him or her, whoever it may be, to talk it out with them why they think they have to do it. I don't mean from a psychological perspective, to analyze it, just to talk it out. Like, what do you think? Well, I want to tell you something, my dear son, Zalman. Mommy and I are not going to hit you or beat you or say negative things, call you names if you tell us the truth. We'll have to remedy the problem. It is a problem. If you had a child who told all the time, lied all the time, or lied a few times, you would want to remedy the problem before it becomes a chronic problem. So we need to keep that in mind if we want our children to. We also, the Stipler Rav, in one of his Igris, he gives advice to parents about everything, about virtues across the wall. Every virtue is possible that we could think of. Across the whole Sefer Orach Tzadikim. And that is to learn Orach Tzadikim. To learn Mussar with your child is an extremely important priority. Not just to learn Chazah, his homework. Child comes home and says, Abba, Daddy, Mommy, Ima, whatever he may call them, and say, I need your help with my homework. Well, there's a life's work that needs to be dealt with. And that life's work is learning Mussar. And to teach the child, as the disciple uses his language, is that the world is not hefker. The world is not just hefker. There is a boirei, there is a mitzvah, as the Chazon says, and a mitzvah. There's a commander and a commandee. And we have to keep that in mind, that the world is not hefker. The Chazon says that over and over again, that language, the world is not hefker. And ultimately a child goes up with that concept. The words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in his Torah, in the mitzvahs, will really sound to him euphonic. It won't sound demanding. It won't sound like responsibilities, which they are, but it'll sound more like opportunities, which you want it to be. If we teach, and we use our as a method with our own children, we try to sharpen and make better our teaching skills, improve our teaching skills to our own children, which sometimes, parents may be very much under a lot of stress, and teaching is the last thing that they want to do right now. They have an important phone call, they have an issue with the chassid coming up in 2 days, they have a lot of things that haven't been made ready yet, and they're nervous. But remember, you're teaching your child either one way, you get angry and get upset, or you're teaching him to be calm in the face of tribulation, in the face of stress and everything else. But you're always teaching them. You're always teaching your children.
By virtue of what you do.
Your behavior, maybe how you react to something. He says, Daddy, you have a phone call from my this and the. He says, he said, you're telling you're another
my
phone call.
daddy's not available.
Yeah, and he starts saying that, whatever it may be, or you react to something. Your glass spilled or broke in the floor, and you get very angry with him. So you hold the phone, you're screaming at him. What are you, stupid? What happens when a person hears those words? What am I? What are you, stupid? He says, well, maybe I'm stupid. My daddy thinks I'm stupid, so maybe I'm stupid. So then I'll just keep on acting stupid. Adjectives, negative adjectives, should never be expressed to a child. I won't say the word never, but should not be expressed to a child. Because ultimately, they develop that adjective as part of the rest of their life, and we don't want that to happen. The other thing is, of course, is that in your children to want to tell the truth, you need to be an example of truth. We need to be the example of saying what's emes. And sometimes we know we're going to face criticism, but you have to, when you get older, at least you could say, I'm not going to care about the criticism. I'm just going to have to know how important truth is. The truth that I learned from my parents, I know how important it is. The Gemara says in Sukkah, Shusa dinuke, the speech of a child, it comes from his mother or his father. His or her mother or father. So it comes from somewhere. The speech of a child of not telling the truth, particularly, it says that a parent shouldn't promise a child something if it was only to assuage a temper tantrum that he's having right now about an issue. So you tell him, well, you know what? If you stop getting angry, if you behave, I'm going to buy you X, Y, and Z. Then doesn't do it. He says, I think it's foolish for me to offer you that. So Shusa Davua, Shusa the Yinuka, the speech of a child, It's not a very profound lesson, but it's a very important lesson that we have to have for our children. We need to know how to make them understand the importance of truth and to be comfortable telling the truth. That's the first thing. Regarding happiness, the Sfarim, Gedolei Yisrael, teach us, and Moshe has in the Tshuva actually, that a child should be mechunach during his early years, his life, that Yiddishkeit is all about being happy, not about onerous obligations that one has. I will report about. I'll share with you report to you about an incident that happened when I was a young bacher. I was before bar mitzvah, and I was attending a friend of mine's bar mitzvah in here, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef. And two Gedolei Yisrael, Zecher Tzadikim Levracha, were there. One of them was Rav Scheinberg, my Rabbi, and Maron Rav Moshe Feinstein was also attending. And this is Rav Scheinberg's grandson bar mitzvah, which is held in Yeshiva's Rabbi Yaakov Yosef in the Yeshiva building in the dining room. The Kiddush was there. The Kiddush was in that room. So during the Kiddush, Rosh Yeshiva Zecher Tzadik Levracha, Maron Rav Scheinberg, Zecher Tzadik Levracha spoke. And he was talking about this concept, how a person has to be Moshe Nefesh, sacrifice, for losing the status of a minor and becoming an adult. At the mitzvah age, a child in our world, in the religious world, Torah world, loses the status of a minor. In the Goyish world, it's 18 years old, but in the Jewish world, it's 13 years old.
Rosh Yeshiva was actually Mesiras Nefesh.
So he said, yes, Mesiras Nefesh, because you have so many things in life that you have to go, and things that happen. You have to, sometimes you have to learn Torah, you have to go away, you have to do things. So it sounded like he meant obstacles that are almost physical obstacles, or almost, emotional handicaps that attack you because of whatever it may be. Right? You feel uncomfortable in an environment, you feel whatever, So Mesiras Nefesh. So Ramosha came in the middle of Maran Rav Scheinberg's drasha. Everybody stood up, and he sat down right. He didn't go to the front. He sat down in the middle, waited till Rav Scheinberg's all finished his drasha, and then Ramosha was called up to the front. And he was asked to say a few words. It was, there were some acerbic remarks about that particular position that Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal Rav Scheinberg had. He was not happy about that. He says, what are you talking to a child of 30 years old about Mesiras Nefesh? He told about Simcha, how freilich it is, how wonderful it is, it's gewaldig. He says he has time to learn on his own about Mesiras Nefesh. What are we teaching him now about? And actually he writes to one of his Jews in Even Ezra, I think it is, he writes this itself. He writes that the Holocaust, the crematorium of American society is teaching them sheshver zu sein a Yid. That krechtzing, sheshver zu sein a Yid. It's good to sein a Yid. Not shver zu sein a Yid. In defense of my Rebbe Rosh Yeshiva, Maran Rav Scheinberg, what he meant was just doing a mitzvah is a Mesiras Nefesh. Because it's a Yetzer Hara. And a child, 13, overcoming his Yetzer Hara when a day ago he didn't have to overcome his Yetzer Hara. That's Mesiras Nefesh. That's what he meant. In my view, that's what I understood him to mean. Not Mesiras Nefesh like going walking to yeshiva, running to minyan, having to get up early for tefillin. I don't think. Yeah, well, gotta go to tefillin. It's the Yetzer Hara. That's not the walking a distance to go. Not the walking on Shabbos a mile and a half to go and eat daven in the minyan. It's the nisayon of the Yetzer Hara that's sometimes difficult to overcome. And once you get rogel, we can become accustomed to overcoming the Yetzer Hara. Then it gets lighter in our life. But that's what Maran Rav Scheinberg meant. However, Moshe made a point that lasts forever. He says that a person who mechanech his kids, that shver zu sein a Yid, when a person comes home, walking from shul on Shabbos, he walked 2.5 miles, he comes back and says, this is shver zu sein a Yid, mamish, so hard to be. So the child says to himself, to herself, say, you know what? I'm going to grow up having a difficult life, like a shver zu sein a Yid. Better maybe I just come out like some kind of who knows what. Maybe somebody, not so observant. I don't have to be so observant. Mitzvahs, why like pain myself? Why do I have to afflict myself in pain for key mitzvahs? Because it was made to him to be a burden. However, the flip side is, if the father comes home and says, Baruch Hashem, some good exercise, walking to shul, come back, we're down in the shul, it was geschmack, they had a good davening. Doesn't talk about that. Or the mother talks about going to Mokum Tahara for herself, and I to drive 30 miles, half a mile, if an hour, 2 hours, or whatever it was to go. Baruch Hashem was wonderful, very good. Or father does other things that he has to go to do mitzvahs. And with Simcha, it took me 3 weeks to find an esrog. I was looking at an esrog. Instead of saying I can't take it, I can't find a kosher esrog. I mean, he has a simcha and demonstrates that. Also, not just says it, but he demonstrates that in his way of his hanhaga to his children. That is really, really the biggest chinuch, the education, and the biggest chesed you can do to educate your child about how to be happy and what to be happy about in his life, her life, and in your life.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the Tropper, for giving us those wonderful insights into educating our children, both in happiness and telling the truth. And hopefully we'll be hearing a lot more about other virtues we need to give over to our children.
Mr. Shem, thank you very much.